Hello everybody. So my name's Andrew Closimo. I'm one of the founders of the XAYA project and the Taurion project. This is a video about our forthcoming game Taurion. So I've made this video due to some feedback that we had from the development updates, which were linked to a forum post, and as a lot of people were going straight to the videos, there was no audio in there. People were pretty confused about what was happening in there. So yeah, like a bit of a brief of what Taurion is. Taurion is a fully decentralized MMO that runs on the XAYA platform. A lot of the concept dates back to 2013 when we was building the Hunter Coin experiment. The game is like a mixture between a few genres like 4X, such as Civilization, RTS, like Dune 2, um, Command and Conquer, StarCraft, things like that, and also like space MMOs like Elite Dangerous and EVE Online. But in the end, it's pretty unique, and there isn't really anything out there like it as far as we're aware. It can also be like considered like a bit of a cryptocurrency as well. So it has this human mining aspect, which was sort of conceived with with Hunter Coin in 2013, 2014. So the assets are mined or distributed in a provably fair, decentralized, trustless way, albeit like the XAYA blockchain is secured by proof of work miners. So what I will do is go over like some of the bits in the game what we've done so far, and probably like touch on other things as well, which we will be adding at a later time as well. Okay, so first we are building the Taurion front end in the Unreal Engine. Although the like Taurion back end, if you will, the game state processor, the daemon which connects to the XAYA wallets and as well the front end connects to the wallet, have a JSON RPC interface, so it's possible to build your games or even a different Taurion UI on whatever engine you wish, pretty much. So the map is made up of hexagonal tiles, and there are something like 8,129 by 8,129 in size. So there's like around 65 million tiles, something like that. The map is also split up into regions, which we'll go into later. And I believe there are something like, I think it's 600,000 tiles or something like that. I'll have to get the exact number later. So yeah, so some of the tiles are not walkable, and that's because they are on things like quicksand, or there's a mountain on them as well. So yeah, so this demo is running now completely decentralized and autonomous and trustless, provably fair, all that sort of stuff. It's not running on some centralized server. This is actually running on the XAYA platform now. So yeah, so like the first thing that you'd probably want to do if you're playing a game on Taurion or just like in this demo testing is you need to create a name on the XAYA blockchain. So this is a technology which has been taken from Namecoin, and basically what it allows you to do is create a name on the blockchain, which is essentially a coloured coin, and that name has to be unique. Nobody can take that from you, and then you can assign values to those names. And as you only own the private key, you're the only person with the private key to that name, then only you can update its values. And we use those for accounts as well as ID system as well. So yeah, so what you can do is you can create a name in the XAYA wallet, or you can do it in the Taurion front end. So you can just type in your name here and press add, and then that will create your name. It will go into the XAYA memory pool, then get mined, and then you'll see it in here. I'm not going to create one now because I have got quite a few already in here. So what you can do once you've got a name, so like I've got this one, Snail Brain, you can then create a character like of one of the factions in the Taurion game. So at the moment, this just creates one character, but it is possible to create, like, say, 10 characters at once. Now there is a fee for when you create a character. You can see there that this means it's pending. It's got in the memory pool, just waiting to get mined. But yeah, so there is at the moment in this test at least a 5 chi fee for creating a character. But in the main the release game, we will have an option where people can play for free. And the way that works is, at the moment, if you pay your fee, the 5 chi fee, and you are selling things in a building or somewhere like on the marketplace, then there is a 5% commission fee which we take. And also in other player buildings as well, they can actually set fees for selling in their buildings and also for using their services. But yeah, so in the full release, we will allow people playing for free, but we will pay for their character fees and also for various transaction fees, but they will get higher taxed in the game. So you can play for free, but it's you're going to get taxed more, and that's essentially that. So I've created this character here. Just ignore these flags for now. Yep, so once that transaction has been mined and your character appears on the map, at the moment and in the full game as well, when you create a character, you will get a starter vehicle. So the three factions, which are I'll just show you again, the Efrati, the Rubors, and the Jordans. They're like a little bit the evil ones. The Rubors are like the intelligent ones, like a little bit, you could say, like Vulcans. You could say maybe the Jordans are maybe a little bit like Klingons, and the Efrati are probably a bit more relatable to like Western Europe sort of people. So the starter vehicle which you get for each faction has some basic turrets on there and weapons, which I'll go into in a second. But if I select this vehicle now, which we've just created, I might have created another one, but we'll just pretend it's this one. You can see here it tells you which faction it is. So this one's an Efrati. You can see the health points of the vehicle, the armor health points, that is. This is the shield health points of the vehicle. Here is how many how much HP of the shield is regenerated every block, so that's 0.5. And also this is the speed of the vehicle, so this 750 is actually means 0.75 hexes per block. But this has actually been changed in the back end and needs updating in the front end. This should get the data directly from the game state in future. It's now 3000, so 3 hexes per block when you do a move. So each of the vehicles has like a layout for the equipment which it can have. So in this in the demo, or just in like these starter vehicles, they have 2 turrets. So they have one turret which has like a 1 hex range, which does quite a lot of damage, and then there is another turret which has a longer range but does like quite a lot less damage. So depending on the vehicle in the full game, you might have ones which are like attack vehicles. So those ones will have like more slots to be able to fit more items in there, more upgrades. All the upgrades are all player made and manufactured from like resources which have been mined and refined and all that sort of stuff. So in here you can have things like turrets, rocket launchers, missile launchers, plasma bombs which will do like an AoE effect damage, attacks which will replenish allies within range, shields faster, and also slowing attacks as well, which slow other vehicles, so then the maximum speed is reduced like significantly. So then like these are the engine slots, we call them. So in here you have things like shield regeneration increase, increases shield HP, electromagnetic warfare stuff which maybe prevent people targeting or target random people or even their own allies. Yeah, increasing speed and things like that. And then in the low slots, this is for structural upgrades where you can have things which increase the cargo space. Like this one is the your cargo. This one, like the vehicle, has no space in there, but it's just for show really at the moment. But in here you can have like minerals and blueprints or whatever. So yeah, so in the low slots, in the structural slots, you can have things which increase your armor HP, maybe armor repairers. Yeah, increased cargo and some other things as well, which slip my mind at the moment. Okay, so if you want to move one of your characters, you can just select it there, or you could select it up here. I need to find the same one. And then you can just click on the map direction, and then press the go button. So as soon as you do that transaction, it gets sent to the XAYA wallet, if we're doing it in a fully decentralized autonomous way like we are doing now. And that name actually becomes pending. So any characters under that name are also pending, so you can't do multiple transactions for one name per block. But we are actually working on an update which will allow that in probably a couple of months. So you will be able to just have one name and do multiple transactions. So yeah, so this shows that this is actually pending at the moment. There is like obstacle avoidance as well, and if there's another vehicle in front of you which makes you stop, it will actually wait 10 blocks to see if this other vehicle starts moving, which can happen if, for example, you're selecting like 10 characters at once and then move them all to a destination, and that can they might collide with each other, and then they would just stop if we didn't have this feature where it will wait 10 blocks to see if anything moves in front. So yeah, so when you do a move as well, and that transaction goes in the blockchain, everybody's Taurion backend, the game state processor, computes where everybody is on the map. So like I've done a move now, each time a block comes in, every person who is playing the game actually computes and comes to like same like consensus of where everybody is on the map, and that's the same for everything else like combat, trading, and all that. So I think that probably covers the movement. Yeah. We are working on an update at the moment as well for the multi-select, which is just needs to be rebuilt, the Unreal game. It's all possible in the back end. But yeah, so what can happen is, for example, here we have one name with multiple characters in there. So once the multi-select is implemented in the front end, you can select with like a box around them, or you could select them in here and you can send them all to a destination. If you do it that way and send them all at once, then all those transactions will go in one, well, all those moves will just go in one transaction. What you can also do as well is create groups. So this might come in handy if, for example, you have some base that you want to protect, or maybe a mining operation, and you just want to group as many characters you can together, so then they're easier to see and see if there's some of them in combat and you know exactly like where they are. So we'll call this like G1 or something like that, and you can select which ones you want to create them in a group like that, and then we have like all those in a group there, and you can see that this character here has already taken some damage there, but his armor has regenerated. I mean, his shield has regenerated. So that's the basics of the moves. You can do, like, you know, really long moves if you wanted to. It will compute the shortest route. if there is like a building or an obstacle appears in the way that isn't another vehicle, then it will just stop as well. So you can see that that one is pending. And when you have a group as well, if you move this character like I have just done, you can see all the ones which are pending, and you can see that that's actually just one name. So you can see which ones that you cannot actually move at the moment. As I say, there is an update coming where we will allow multiple updates from one name in one block, and that should be soon. Okay, so now what I'll do is I'll show you some combat. So we'll explain what the flags are a little bit later, but they're just placeholders, so they will look a lot better than that. So what I'm going to do is just move some of these factions to these authority to this Jordan character over here. Oops. So the houses, I keep calling them factions. The houses are always hostile to each other. So when we add alliances to the game, you cannot make an alliance with the other factions. It will be possible to create alliances within a faction and then fight another alliance within that same faction as well. So you can see now that this one here is showing as red, which means that this one is now in combat, or it's fighting somebody. This one here is red because that's actually the same character, it's just that I've grouped all the players in that name with this as well. So you can see here the shield is going down on this one, and the shield's gone down like a bit further on that one. I think they both started on the same shield, so there is like a little bit of randomness in the damage as well. So yeah, combat as well is about the layouts of you know, the turrets and engine and structural slots. So yeah, because you might be kitted out for combat, or kitted out for mining, for transporting goods, or exploring, scouting, building. You know, so that all depends on your layout. And a lot of that will come into the like strategy and tactics for combat. So probably this one is gonna blow up before the others can come and save it. So that one is now dead. You can see I've got one less on here now. Yeah, so when you do get destroyed in the release version, if you've been carrying any assets or items or resources, or you've got like kitted out with a lot of turrets, then it is possible when you get blown up for them to drop on the ground. Probably it'll be something around like 30% of them will survive the attack, so then they'll go on the ground and other people can pick them up. It could be that if you've blown up some industrial vehicle that was loaded with resources, that you don't have the cargo space to pick up all those goods anyway, so you might have to do multiple trips, or maybe they'll recover some of the goods themselves. I mean, I could go through some of the other stuff in the UI as well. So like here is the chat window. So this chat uses something we call XAYA ID or XID, which is a bit like a DApp what runs on the XAYA platform, and it's like an ID authentication system. I think Microsoft just announced recently that they're doing something the same with Bitcoin, but this thing we've had running on Namecoin for quite a while called Name ID, but we've ported it over to XAYA, and what we have set up is an XMPP server using eJabbered, and using this like using the XAYA blockchain allows you to authenticate onto the chat server, and then people know who they're talking to, and we can also add end-to-end encryption at a later point in time as well, when we possibly build a standalone chat app as well, based on blockchain for Android. But that's another story. So yeah, the chat all works. Nobody in there though. So it's 2 channels. You can add as many channels as you want. You can use the system to log in with any XMPP client like Pigeon or something like that. Yeah, so we've got like the mini map, obviously. You can press tab and see the full map. It needs a little bit of work, but you know, all the basics are there. You can see all the players that are in the game state on the map. Yeah. So we also have this leaderboard, which does need some work. It should start at 1, but this shows how many kills you've got. So yeah, that's like self-explanatory, pretty much. Also fame, which is you can read about it on the forum, but basically it's similar to how many kills, but it's about who you've killed as well and who they've killed, and yeah, you get like a ranking system from that. And these prizes, this is not yet implemented properly yet, but that's to do with prospecting. Basically, we're going to be running like a small competition in the coming weeks where you can win some prizes, which will probably be some like some money for the top prizes and some in-game items maybe for the other prizes. So that's the leaderboard. There is something about prospecting as well, actually, which we'll get to now, actually. So let's go back to this one. Yeah, so in the full game, what you can do is if you want to like mine some resources or build a building or whatever, you need to prospect some land. So to do that, you select your vehicle and you just press prospect. And if this area has not already been prospected, then you can prospect it, and it takes 10 blocks to go through. There's currently no feedback to say that that's gone in the chain that it's pending, but that will be soon. If an area has been pended, it gets a flag in there, but that, as I said before, is just a placeholder for some other sort of graphics which we're looking for at the moment. So yeah, in the demo, when you prospect, you have like a bit of a lottery. Basically, there is a. If you just bear me a second, there is like a 1 in 100,000 chance to win like 2 top prizes. So if anybody wins that, then good. 50 silver prizes, which is 1 in 4,000 chance, and 2,000 bronze prizes, which is 1 in 100 chance. It's all provably fair, and you'll see that once we release the code. The regions are, as I mentioned before, what you can prospect. There are around 600,000 or 700,000. Never wrote that down. Oh, there's about 700,000 regions. So in the full game, when you prospect a region, it will tell you one of 3 things. One is what resources are there, or if there is any resources to mine. Its replenishment rate of those resources as well, and also the amount of resources there is based on some global supply. So there is like a limited supply, and like if there's millions more people playing, there isn't millions more resource produced, and those resources amounts may reduce every 4 years as well, just like a lot of cryptocurrencies. You can see here now that this one is prospecting, and there's 7 blocks left. The other thing which you can get from prospecting in the full game is a chance to find a rare artifact. So, like what an artifact is like an ancient artifact, remnant of some ancient civilization, which we don't know much about at the moment, but will be released in some like further stories and lore. But these ancient artifacts, you can take them back to a building, like a research facility, and have them reverse engineered. And if you're successful, which could be like a 5% chance or something like that, if you fail, it will be destroyed. Then well, if it's successful, then you will possibly get a blueprint. What blueprints are used for is like construction. So you might get a blueprint for like a mining laser, or a cargo expander, or even like a vehicle if you're lucky, or something like that. And only those with a blueprint can actually make the stuff. Now, the people with the blueprint can also copy the blueprints. So, you know, because he might find a blueprint for some massive vehicle of which he's never gonna be able to build because it needs like a massive amount of resources and might take like a couple of months to gather them. So what you could do is just copy the blueprint for a fee. So create like a limited charge blueprint and then sell those, so he can make his money that way. Or he could just sell the blueprint to somebody who's rich, and then they can start pumping them out and selling to people on a decentralized, player-driven marketplace. What else as well is there with the prospecting? Oh yeah, so prospecting will also tell you if you can build a building on there as well, because some land might not be like buildable, but that's all based on luck as well. Yeah, so you can see that flag there where I just prospected that area. So now nobody else can prospect that area in the demo. In the full game, if we don't start mining on this area or building on that area, then people can prospect it again. So I'll just show you the buildings. I think that's probably the last thing. So the buildings are not implemented in the back end or in consensus. This is just all front end at the moment for the buildings. So like the different buildings will be is like probably the main one, or one of the main ones is like a refinery. Maybe not this one. These are just like probably test assets for now. But a refinery, you can basically refine the raw materials. So there will be like you could call dev bases, or bases that are already in the game when the game starts, and people can use the refineries there for like a small fee. And the same with players as well. If they build a player refinery, they can set the fee for what people are charged to use the refinery. So when you mine and you get the raw resources, you know, you might have something like iron ore. That's just like an example name, which takes up like say 20 times more space than refined iron. And also when you're going to construct items and assets, upgrades, they will need to use the process material. So refineries will be used a lot in the like chain of supply for building things. Other buildings like construction facilities, they're used for building upgrades and pretty much just upgrades. What else as well? Vehicle bays, they're used for building vehicles and also repairing vehicles. We don't have like one on here, but I'm just going to place some buildings just to show you what it's like placing buildings. Just place a few there, one there. So you can see they have those foundations. That's just what we came up with because not all the place is flat, unfortunately. So what else is the research facilities, as we said before? So they're used for reverse engineering artifacts, copying blueprints, and possibly upgrading some add-ons and vehicles. Command centers, they do like all of the above. Possibly also energy bases where they power the energy for other buildings, but we are still considering that at the moment. These buildings, as well as they are now, will be made like quite a lot smaller. I asked to increase them just recently, but they are too big, so we'll be reducing those. Yeah, and also turrets as well. You can place like turrets if you have a blueprint for them. You can build them, but you can't just like stack a load of turrets around your base easily. And the reason for that is these turrets have an upkeep, so it's quite expensive to keep running turrets. So that's one thing which you need to be careful of. So players can build all the buildings, but yeah, there will be some static ones. Probably about 6 buildings in total. So yeah, player buildings can be destroyed as well. So when each building sort of has like a marketplace, if you will. So if I like list 5,000 pieces of iron, for example, I have to list it for sale in whatever building it's in. And if someone wants to buy it, when they look on the market, they need to look at what base it's in, because there's no point like buying some iron at the other side of the map, which is going to take a week to get there and then a week to get back. You know, you want to buy materials that are close to you, and then that will mean the prices of those assets will be like based on like supply and demand, and also how easy it was to get the resources there. So it might be that there is no iron at the other side of the map, but there is lots of another material there. So then it creates like an opportunity for people to trade those things. Like people might have a buy order for paying like 10 times more for iron than the other place on the map. So that, as I say, creates a market there for people to transport those goods. Yeah, so all the vehicles as well will have like animations and things. So like the turrets will rotate and the wheels will rotate, and the graphics will be improved. So I think that's probably pretty much it uh, where we're up to. Hopefully it's not been so boring, but I think we needed to do this just to, you know, explain the scope of what you can actually do in this game and the way that we're going. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. And if you want to see some more as well with the next updates, we'll try and do an audio video like this and keep you updated. So you can just subscribe if you will, and we'll keep you updated. Thank you very much.